Hey guys, Tarke here, and we've got yet another Patreon build review. This one's from Poisonousfroad. He wants me to improve his build, but he sent me a bit of a wall of text. I'm just going to break through that, and then we'll get into it. Starts off usual, hey Tarke, if you listen to Bay Class, would recommend. Then he talks about how a lot of what I enjoy about Path of Exile in games is general, is making my own builds, theory crafting, and optimize, so I don't follow build guides, though I do sometimes watch them to get ideas. I tend to play pretty casually 1 to 3 characters each league and try to craft most of my own gear, though I buy crafting based on items sometimes. Just farming currency I tend to lose interest in a few days. If you get round to reviewing my Metamorph build before Delirium, that'd be solid. I got you, Chief. I wanted to play Burning Arrow Ignite in Metamorph, so I made a Chieftain. I used Zoth's Nurture for a long time, for I had the brilliant idea to get a bow with the crafted Cast Suckered spell on attack mod to cast Wave of Conviction with Curse on hit, which apparently doesn't apply the curse. You can't trigger a trigger, so you could have done Wave of Conviction and then just curses, but the curse on hit doesn't work. I was using Dress's Advance, so I replaced it with current chassis and got Valaco Storm's Embrace out of Namahu Flames Advance while I was wearing it, besides trying Namahu's passive, so I'm using endurance charges. I know my rings and jewels are pretty unimpressive. I've devoted because it was decent. I have the lab enchant. And Zeri's Promise wasn't sure about, but Boss my Chaos Throws gives some damage. Sorry for the wall of text. Enjoy my filthy casual build, and thanks for the content, man. So we're looking at a Ignite build running Zeri's Promise. Okay. Right. Let's start with... I'll go trees, then skills, then items. Let's do it that way. Okay, so in terms of the tree, it really hurts me to see the Sun Life Wheel not filled in. Just, it cuts me deep. It feels bad, right? Also, the fact that you're not utilizing EEs, you're doing it on the ring, no. The fact you're not utilizing EE means you're missing out on a lot of damage for an Ignite build. So that's kind of rough. I'm not a big fan of stacking curses, although apparently you're not even using DPS curses. I'm not a big fan of stacking curses on Ignite builds, because Ignite builds already want to roll over quite a lot of map mods. They can't run Reflect, they don't run Avoid Ailments. So then also having a bunch of your damage tied into curses, while it's a very efficient way of scaling your damage, it's then just like another map mod. You're like, oh no, I can't run this. Or I can run it, but my build feels trash. So I might look into that. The initial things I would want to do is add a bunch more life into the build, change a little bit of the routing around here, and maybe some of the routing around here. You've got 100% conversion from Burning Arrow anyway, so this is basically every 4 seconds... Sorry, every 10 seconds gain a bunch of extra damage, which is nice. I would probably sooner take Tassilo just because it's very nice defense. Getting the fizz damage taken as fire. And I'm not a big fan of rotating buffs. It's nice, but it's a bit tedious to play around. Valkos I would never take. So yeah. Right. You don't need the resist, do you? You're a bit starved on resist. That's what you went through that way. Okay. We can probably fix that. Let's drop these. If you're using Vol Molten Shell and you're really starved for resist, going through here is fine. But also, if you were to take Tassilo, that would give you a bunch of resist, which would make your life a lot easier. So, yeah. For optimal single target, you would take that, but it's not very consistent. That would be more quality of life, because it's just always giving you some defense and giving you some good vibes. So, yeah. You could also have a totem, like a decoy totem or something. And then this will be giving you a bunch of increased damage. Something to consider. If you are actively using totems in your build, I would highly recommend using this. But whatever. So, how does this math out? That is... It's only 2.3 per point. Are we against bosses? Ah. Ooh, okay, that's rough. Keep in mind, Ignite from Burning Arrow does stack. So it's not as low as it appears, but a bit yikes. Okay. So your Ignite DPS is only 2.1 per point. I'm going to drop that. Not covered in ash and config. A good shout. Okay, let's actually just make sure configs are alright. So you do have endurance charges. Sometimes that will be active and your DPS will shoot way the hell up. We could give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm guessing things are going to be ignited if you use combustion. Okay, there you go, or immolate or something. Okay, these numbers are looking a bit less trash. Let's just assume that's what his setup is. So he's got the ignite active, he's got the covered in ash, and he's got the Shaper Guardian stuff up. He's got his endurance charges. He's probably on full life all the time. Not that he's going to be using damage on full life, but you never know. Yeah, okay, that seems kind of fair. It's only 2.4 per point in terms of ignites. Not a big fan. Fire exposure. We can add fire exposure. Cool. Right. Okay, now it's looking a bit more, you know, it's getting a bit more though. It's getting a bit more though. I'm just gonna fill in the things that I would do. Okay. Yep. So you wanted to resist everything. We'll fill everything and then cut it down. I mean, it gives you attack speed. Attack speed is quality of life, and it gives you damage, which is good. What's he doing with his auras? I'm going to assume you don't need that many auras. Let's drop that stuff. Let's bring the points back down a little bit. 93. I mean, realistically, that's probably... It's just a real shame you can't anoint Burning Brutality. It's a real shame. I did have a tree that cut across that way and grabbed it, but whatever. Do you really need the dex? I mean, if you need the accuracy... What's your hit rating? 100% hit rating. How are you getting so much hit rating? Oh, he's using like a precision or something. Okay. It's decent if you need the dex. If you don't need the dex, I'd drop it. I mean, it gives you a little bit of moon seed. It's... I would rather have a life, but anyway. Whatever. I'm getting sidetracked. Ah, it's Volt Banners. Good catch. So he's right, it's still 95%. So, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Alright, let's look at what skills he's using. Anger. I wouldn't run the anger, personally. I would drop the anger. I don't think it's really worth. Let's get rid of you. Herald of Ash, definitely. Yeah, definitely Herald of Ash. Herald of Purity? I mean, with the levels, sure, I guess, why not? So he's using Flammability, Spell Cascade, increased AoE, Temp Chains, and he had that in a Trigger Bow. Okay. I would shove... I mean, if he's going to be doing stuff like this, then you really want the EE. Like, if you're going to do the whole Trigger Bow thing, then you could shove Brands in there. You could shove Orb of Storms in there. You're constantly triggering EE. Yeah, so we want EE. We might have to change this tree. And by might, we're going to have to change this tree. So we could then go for... Cut these 3 points. Go this way, grab the Jewel. Life. We're going to have to rethink a little bit of this shit. Let's route this way because he's gonna need the dex. Alright, it's just a casual level 100 build. Haha. Stormfire Ignite is generally what I'd recommend for Burning Area, but I wouldn't do that on Chieftain. I guess you could do it on Chieftain, you just wouldn't take this, you would just do that and go Stormfire. I guess that's fine. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Right, how do we cut his points down? This is... actually gonna be difficult. Okay, I'm gonna cut the curses. I'm gonna do just a fresh tree. Just because sometimes I find it easier. And also, let's just throw on some background sounds. Right. Help me think about. Alright. I think it might actually be less points to do something like this. I'm gonna say anoint arsonist. I would really like to take Burning Brutality. Tassilo is kind of great. I wouldn't ever not take Tassilo personally. Okay, so we've got all the defense we need. Now we just need to get the numbers up. I'm still not sure if I'd want to take that or not. I'd be really tempted to have just gone the Tempest Stormfire route. How does that compare to Zoph's? Getting 10 fizzes, extra chaos. Actually, that's right. What links are you actually using on your burning area? You're running Ignite Proliferation in links if you weren't running that bow. So you'd be 129 with that. But then... you'd be... Really? Oh, because you don't have it. You don't even have it in the bow, right? Okay, 153. And how would that be on? I'm just gonna do a complete reset. Just out of interest, how would that be on? I might regret this. Basically just looking at whatever gives the most Ignite DPS. Oh, 64. 234. 33.9. 43.9. 54.1. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's assume that you're using the Zoth boy. Okay. We need to actually say it has taken. Not really damage. Can't use anger because it'll fuck up the malevolence. Not fuck up the malevolence, it'll fuck up the EE. Well, I guess I'd be really tempted to just go Stormfire. Although I'm kind of going against what I should be doing. I should be reviewing his build rather than completely remaking it from scratch. Okay, no, that's okay. Rather than me completely remaking his thing from scratch, which is kind of cheating, and then just copying Methal's last character, let's actually tweak his setup. Okay. Right, let's fix up his setup so the boss is burning expanded. Would have endurance charges. Shield Guardian. Covenant Ash. You could still very much go EE with the trigger bow, since he is using a trigger bow. You could very easily do that shit. Very, very easily. It seems weird to me that that would be more damage than the Zophs. Is the Zophs really that bad? I haven't actually looked at... Let's actually look at how people were building it. PV Ninja. Builds. So let's see. And let's look for people who are running Corporation. Oh no, let's not look at that. Let's look people ranking. No, it's not. Interesting. Some inspiration. I mean, obviously going double circle of guilt is going to give him an absolute atrocious amount of damage. But again, I feel like that's kind of cheating. But Vol burning or GMP combustion, burning damage, wed, deadly elements. Nothing. Vol burning. Yeah, I prefer this reading when you go this way. He goes around the outside of the tree. That's kind of interesting. I would like to get over there. Lawweave, I haven't seen that in a while. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of coming this way, maybe stretching over for that. That might be too much of a reach. It's a real shame that you can't anoint that. It's a real shame that you can't anoint that. Azaneth's chant is cute. I don't know why he's using Stormfire with Zophs though. He's having the helmet, he's got Blood Rage, Steel Skin Loop. That's not really worth it. Automating a cast, sure. Automating Wave of Conviction, sure. Automating a guard skill, sure. Automating Blood Rage. I would take that out and I'd put in a Cold Snap, then you would get Frenzy charges for clearing instead of the Blood Rage for Frenzies. And if he was using E, he's not even using EE. Yeah, weird. This one's kind of wacky, but I kind of dig it. It kind of goes that way across. Interesting. Okay. Okay. I definitely like the idea of coming along the outside there. So with this much life, you don't really need to worry about getting stunned ever, so that's like a non-issue. So you've got the points down. You lose that stuff there, but then you pick up this whole cluster. You get the life back, so it's kind of whatever. If you lose that on 1 max fire res. I wouldn't really invest into the endurance charges. Would be great to get over to Burning Brutality. So you could cut across this way. I guess the other good thing about coming over for Burning Brutality is it gives you bunch of decks if you need the decks. It's an awkward tree. It's a really awkward tree. Why doesn't he take that? I don't get why people... I really don't get why people would skip Retribution. It's 14% more damage, which scales your Ignite, and it's attack speed, which is good. It's like a no-brainer. I don't get that one. I don't get that at all. Alright, so what are you doing with all his auras? 13% unreserved. What was it again? He was running the Purity of... I don't really like the Herald of Purity. Like, I kind of get it. I think I'd like it more if it had, like, culling or something on there, because then it would be getting a bit more utility, or at least a blind. Now it'll be dropped the Unwavering Stance. I don't know. I don't know if... I felt like for 4 skill points, you could probably get something better. I kind of want to take this shit. I mean, one thing you can say is if you mess around with the build a bit, it'd actually be pretty decent for cluster jewels. Because you've got access to a cluster jewel there, and you've got access to a cluster jewel there. I spoke about this in one of my videos recently for an Ignite Chieftain. Is you could theoretically get both cluster jewels quite cleanly on was like for explosive arrow or something. Feels weird not using Malevolence on a damage over time build. Feels very strange to me. These links seem kind of wasted. Did I reset the exposure? I didn't. Oops. Did he have a Watcher's Eye? No, he didn't have a Watcher's Eye. Okay, cool. Mortal Core cost damage taken, increased duration, enhance. I wouldn't use enhance on a Mortal Core. I like using enhance in builds. I feel like people don't use enhance enough. But I wouldn't run enhance for a Mortal Core, so let's get rid of that. What's he got? He has got a Vol Molten Shell Rocking, which is why he was getting some armor investment, so fair enough. I probably should have looked at that before I started fucking around with things. Running. Interesting. So you could have craft fire damage over time multiplier in your quiver. You need to get it on the gloves. You get the nice faster ignite on boots. Faster ignite on boots is huge for these builds. If you bring up PvPB. Really good mod. It's off Hunter. Ignites you, inflict 10% fast. Really, really good mod. Would definitely recommend that. He has got the Diaden Dawn, and it has been catalyzed up. If you didn't know, you can use catalysts on Diaden Dawn. Very strong. Very, very strong. I would drop the Zuri's Promise. If you're really worried about Chaos Res, you could just straight up... Wait, you've got 57 positive Chaos Res? Why are you worried about Chaos Res, dude? Wait, what? You were using it Zeus Res with 57 positive Chaos Res? Bruh, why were you worrying about Chaos Res? So you had someone his ring. Had a bunch in his boots. He had some in his gloves. Wait, what was he getting the rest from? Where was he getting so much Chaos Res from? He had 20 on the tree. What? 20 on tree, 20 on helm, 40. 54. 84. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So he has, yeah, when you've got over 100 Chaos Res on gear, yeah, okay. Okay. I would recommend running a Granite of Iron skin if you're going to be running a... Why is it saying that's boosting his ignite damage? Hang on. He has some sort of DPS where he has a flask up, that's what it was. He's got damage during flask effects on something. On his gloves. Okay. So that's why it was saying that it was scaling his ignite damage. Right, it wasn't scaling his ignite. Okay. Okay. We solved that mystery. I can link my SSFBA Chieftain if you want to compare. Please do. Please do. I'm getting lost in the source. I'm getting very lost. There's some... I don't know what it is, but there are just some things, if people send it to me, like... your brain just starts unraveling at the seams. I don't know if it's because I just finished planning out my league start that I'm extra, like, wobbly on my feet at the moment. But, yeah, this build's got me all sorts of confused. Alright, let's save this as is. Let's do some comparisons. Okay. So yeah, you came along this way, you went along that way, didn't get that life stuff, which sucks a little bit, but fair. Tempered Mind. That's a cute way of getting the accuracy up. It's pretty cool, pretty cool. Some of the rooting feels it's just that a lot of it's the rooting with these builds. The rooting is the thing which irritates me. But let's see if you had your gear set up a bit better. Signal Fire with the Zophs, yep, makes sense. Brine Crown, that's so lucky that you had that in SSF. Like, it's actually a really rare item. Then you have the Combs. Leather Crew, using a Mantra of Flames, that's kind of interesting. Searing Malevolence, Haralash, Character. Oh, you're running Immolate, huh? Okay. Okay. You'd bet on Costules being AP for Ignite? Oh, I agree. But, like, again, we're not reviewing this guy's build for next league. He just wants me to review what he came up with thus far. So we're just fucking with it under the assumption of what will this be like now, right? Not what will this be like in the future. Do people take both of these? I feel like you would take both. Because getting the increased ignite duration's very strong. And getting the multi's good as well, but you take both. Don't wanna make these points too high. It's 4.4 per point, that's fine. So 2.7 per point, it's okay. Still take it for the attack speed. I feel like you're gonna be pretty attack speed starved. The tree looks ugly. Like, it looks like an ugly tree. But it gets everything you want it to get, and you can always cut. Like, you don't necessarily need 200% life. I'd grab both. You'd want the 2-point draw. 95. To be fair, planting a tree for 95 is alright. It's alright. There wasn't necessarily anything wrong with this way, and to be fair to him, like, unless you've got all the skill points to, like, make use of all the crazy travel, then yeah. But I do think coming over this way is kind of important. So let's just move some of his jewels around. So which one are we not using? Soul Splinter. Was he just had life, damage, blind? That was life, attack speed. Ooh. that one was just a onslaught. Okay, obviously you'd really want life on that. So let's just say that you had 2 of these. Whatever. So yeah, I would have definitely gone for a granite of iron skin. I have this weird thing where everything has to be in a certain order for me, otherwise I don't. Wait, was he not using a Quicksilver? Was he not using it? Wait, what? Was he not using a Quicksilver? He wasn't using a Quicksilver flask. He was using a granite. You can't not use a Quicksilver flask. You can't not use a Quicksilver flask, dude. I was like, okay, this is all looking fine, but no, you can't. No, no, I'm not letting that happen. I'm not living in a world where people aren't using Quicksilvers. No, that's a no. It's a big no. Especially on a bow build. Of all builds. Like, if you were playing some, like, Whirly Boy or, like, Leap Slam Lad, fair enough. But on a bow build? Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. And also, the Quicksilver's always at the bottom of the list. That is also fact. So let's give him a granite. Guess we have to keep the warning on that then, since we're adding the Quicksilver. I'm surprised that took me so long to notice. Yeah, that was... Oof, sorry, that was... Oof. Ooh, okay, that woke me up a bit. It's actually a pretty nice ring, that, for SSF. Good chunk of accuracy, which you need. Has a good wed roll, has the all-res. I'd be pretty happy with that. And the fact that it's a crit base isn't wasted because it does help his Elliot overload uptime. I'd be pretty happy with that one. This one not so much. I mean, it does have the life, percent life, chaos res, all res, so it's not like the worst. It's not the worst, it's not the worst. Obviously you'd be looking for 2 rings like this. Preferably on a different base. Like, having them both on diamond rings is kind of rough. Like, I would want a life base or a resist base to free up other pieces of gear, or an opal ring, ideally. But I guess it's not terrible having it, because it does mean the Elio Blade uprate is slightly better. That's a really nice amulet that you got there. Yeah, I would be very happy with that. +1, Fizzles Fire, 5 damage over time, and the life. I don't actually know how much the +1 does for Burning Area, though. Does Burning Area gain much with... because it doesn't get flat damage from levels. Shame. It's a real shame. That would be an amazing, amazing amulet for, Fizz to Fire Ignite. Oh, Divine Eye. That'd be really good. That'd be really, really good. Really good Divine Eye Ignite, I mean. The boots don't have the fast Ignite mod on there, but it is actually pretty nice pair of boots, just because it's got Chaos Res. Like, if you showed me an item with Chaos Res, like, oh, that's a pretty good item you got there. To be fair, when you have so much positive Chaos Res, you could afford to drop some. Because, like, even if we said he doubled up on that ring, theoretically, if he was to mirror his OK ring, he would still have 0 chaos. He would have positive 8 Chaos Res. You really would want that mod. You really do want that mod. Oh. Okay. What? Boots, armor, titan, movement speed, life. Is he running Skitterbots? Skitterbots is okay, but it's not that great for this setup. Yeah, is some good shit right here. This is that big. It may not seem that big, but it's big. It's big. You'd go literally just for that, and then at this point you would like multi-mod it for like freeze immune or something. Those are decent. I wouldn't necessarily change with that. Signal fire would be big there. Yeah, signal fire is a nice big chunk of damage. Yeah, he might have been screwed over not getting the prophecy, but it's kind of too good not to use. I really do feel like he should be using the bow. I really feel like he should be using the bow. So it would be deadly ailments. So he's 424 with the current thing. Yeah. No, should be using the bear. Because like, okay, the trigger, the reason why the trigger spell thing doesn't really seem worthwhile is he's not EE, no. He's not EE. You were just using it to get a curse when you could just do a manual wave of conviction curse on hit flammability that you just press for bosses, because you only need it for bosses realistically. So let's just, I want to clean up your, I just want to clean up the auras as well. So I would do wave of conviction, curse on hit, flammability. You could have like an increased duration on the end here. You could have a cull on there if you want to keep the cull. But yeah, we'll just leave that as that for now. You could also shove the combustion. Did he have combustion? He did have combustion in here. He could move the combustion onto something else if he wanted to. So you could move the combustion onto wave of conviction and use a different DPS link, I guess. Then that's not as big of a deal. If he was going purely for min-max, you would then run the burning damage instead. Is the Immolate really that great? 47.8. Okay, fair enough. Alright. So let's put that on that together. Let's just tidy things up a little bit now. What was his hit chance at? See, rather than running the Herald of Purity, I'd much rather run a low-level precision. So if we just said like, I don't know, level 7 precision or something, say 10% worth of mana reserved, that gives you a nice amount of hit chance, gives you a decent little chunk of crit. You could you could fiddle around with it, trying to find the sweet spot on there, you know. But I'd probably run just like a low-level precision. You could run like an Enlighten on there, and then you can like pump the precision up a bit higher. Just whatever you're comfortable with mana reservation-wise. I'd say like 15% unreserved would be fine. You might also want like a little bit of mana leech. So how is he sustaining his mana pool? Just like natural regen? It's kind of rough. Guess the rallying cry was how he was doing it. You could also run just like a clarity instead if you were worried about mana stuff. You could also change your rooting somewhat to yoink this. And then grab like Golem's Blood. But it's already level 95 tree, so let's not go too crazy. So, I mean, like, I disagreed with your tree a bit, but your tree wasn't that off, to be honest. It was mostly your links was the thing that I wasn't, like, too crazy about. Right. So, okay, that I'm happy with. That I'm happy with. And that. So, the bow I'm happy with, shove that to the top. Wave Conviction, shove that we're happy with. These we're happy with. You could run a Clarity instead. Fair enough. You had Mortal Core concentration, increased duration. They had the enhanced that we got rid of. I changed these levels a bit. And also, if you're running the Immortal Core, then the investment into endurance charges feels worse. I'm glad we cut those. I'll be really tempted to go for these instead of that, but yeah, it's whatever. It's whatever. See, I'd much sooner. Okay, I'm gonna delete all of this. Boom. I'd much sooner. Why does it keep jumping around? Have a Mortal Core, castle damage taken, increased duration, then shove the Vol Molten Shell in here. Because that way you're not like doubling up on gems. And then you wanted to run a Blood Rage. So then you could have Blood Rage. That's cool. That's helmet. That's weapon 1. Weapon 1. Oh, let's shove that in chest. Weapon 1. Chest. Boots. Helm. Gloves. Assuming you're not 6-linking your chest, and assuming you're not running 2 6-links, you would just shove like your spare links in there. So that's what's like the Blood Rage, which is, you don't need to link the Blood Rage or anything. That's just kind of like a floating link. So I'm just gonna shove it in here. And then you could also have your Rallying Cry. I know you did have the increased duration on the Rallying Cry, which if you're really desperate for, we could give you a new setup for that. If you want to do a big setup with increased duration, I'd be tempted to run, because you have enough decks where you could run like a big phase run. So you could do like a big phase run, increased duration, Rallying Cry, Smoke Mine, right? Then you're like flying, and your movement speed's like, yes, this is kind of like, this is the kind of thing I'd like to do. Yeah. And he has an open flex gem. I don't know. Could run like a low-level Clarity. The gear was pretty spot on, except for the flasks. So yeah, I mean, all in all, let's actually quickly, before I summarize on this, and I got really lost in the source on that one. What ascendancies did these guys go for? So they went for Tasselal. That's a trickster. They went for that. They went for that. That's a jug. Yep. Yeah, I agree with these guys. Yeah. 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 And even without that, I would even have that shit enabled. Whoops. I mean, yeah, so even without that, definitely was more damage than the stuff we had before. So yeah, I would kind of go something sort of like that. Sorry that was such a long-winded one. That was like 40 minutes. I've really, like, I don't know what it is about Chieftain trees that I find them really overwhelming, just because there are so many different ways you can root out of them. I think one of the main things I'm really hoping for in 3.10 is that Burning Brutality becomes anointable. There's a couple of like new nodes they added, like the Ballista nodes and all that stuff, which just don't have a place right now. But yeah, I don't know, something a bit more like that is kind of the way I would have gone for it. If you wanted to do trigger stuff, I do think the Azimuth chant setup would have been pretty cool. And obviously the best burning arrow enchant is the extra fizz added as fire, which would have been the ideal. But if I was to play a Ignite Chieftain, I would probably run Devotee's Devotion. I'm pretty sure for the Explosive build I planned, I was running Devotee's Devotion. So I agree with running Devotee's Devotion. It gives you the dex requirements, which is nice. Gives you attack speed. Gives you chaos stress. Gives you movement speed. Movement speed's great. Movement speed's great. So yeah, basically, I kind of agree with it. So I'm Tarke. Have a good day. And sorry that took me so long. Bye-bye.